Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity Vlog by Visions to Images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions to Images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions to Images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life. Your host for this vlog is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions to Images. Hello, everybody. Today I have Amanda Davila on the Branding Experts podcast, and she helps support and empower business owners to become CEOs. She has done a lot of different things in her years. You know, she was in the VA world, the online integrator, all that fun stuff. So she really helps people get to that level and really define how to outsource. That I think is what I need the most help with all the time. I'm sitting here overwhelmed saying, oh, which should I outsource? So here is Amanda. I'm glad she's on. Hi, Amanda.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited. I just love what you do. So tell me how you got started. First of all, I know it's a long story and a long journey. So just tell us how you got to where you are.
Okay. So before coming into the online world and starting my own business, I was a nurse. My entire adult life, I've been in the medical field. But when I had my son, I decided that I wanted to be home with him and not miss out on everything. So I was desperately searching for something else. And I discovered what a virtual assistant was. So I went for it. I started working as a virtual assistant at night and on weekends. I was still nursing and raising my baby. And eventually working as a VA wasn't quite enough for me because I've come from a long line of being in leadership roles, running large corporations in the medical world. And I decided that I wanted to do more. So I transitioned into being an online business manager and integrator. So I was playing a different role in online businesses. I eventually was able to quit nursing and just focus on my online business. And then I got to another point where I felt like it was time for another transition. And instead of working directly in businesses as the OBM or integrator, I decided to take on a new role of providing support and education to entrepreneurs. And now what I'm doing is I'm supporting them in a different way by giving them education. I have courses, I have a mastermind, and I'm supporting them on that journey as they are moving along from doing everything in their business themselves to trying to get to that CEO level where they're not having to do everything themselves. So they can start getting back to focusing on the parts of their business they love and really creating and also making more time for their families and their passions in life outside of, their business. So that's where I'm at now, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's been quite the journey over the last couple of years, but I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. That is so amazing. You have such a powerful story, right? Like you started with the nursing and then you transitioned. You were multitasking, overworking, doing all the things, and then doing the online business manager, and now going to something so much more powerful and amazing. So that's amazing that you have taken all of these steps. Sometimes people can skip the steps, but if they're not as successful or they are scared, right? Like, so there's always all these things, but you just went in, and that's amazing.
Well, yeah, that's a big part of my story. And also a reason why I am so successful in supporting other business owners, because I've gone through all of the pieces. I've been through it. I didn't just, skip over things and go to a certain level. And then I'm not trying to teach something that I'm just like theorizing or I learned in a book. I literally lived it myself and helped lots of people through it also. And now I'm able to speak from experience. And to me, that's so much more powerful than, someone who's just throwing stuff out there like, oh, this is what I heard from somebody. Like, no, like I've legit lived this. So let me help you from my experience.
Totally. Yes. I love it. A million things are going on, so that's fine. So what are you most excited about? I know you have amazing stuff happening, and obviously you're excited about this new transition. So tell me more, like, what are you so excited about right now that you want to share?
So these last few months, I've really been focused on finding my true self and my voice. And it's all kind of come together at once as I'm trying to figure out how I can show up authentically and really speak to my people. And also with my branding came into that too, because I've been trying to find myself. And when I first started talking to you about my branding, I had, like 10 different logos over the last 2 years. I had changed everything over and over again because I couldn't figure out like what my business, like I couldn't figure out all the pieces. I couldn't figure out the branding. I couldn't figure out my voice. I was trying to talk to everybody instead of to one specific person. I was just in that area. I was kind of a mess. So these last few months, I've really come to a place where I feel, even though I feel scared all the time because I'm doing big, scary things, and in business, there's always lots of fears. I found my voice, and I feel this new sense of courage to like really put it out there and share. So I started up my own podcast called Corporate Rejects, and that's kind of that's where my brand is really going, and I absolutely just love it. It lights me up in all these different ways, to really connect with other moms, especially who have been in the corporate world and it wasn't right for them anymore, especially as we, are focusing on our families and growing our businesses. So I'm most excited about just showing up and being raw and real and being myself and really speaking to the people who need to hear what I have to say. And sometimes it's not the popular opinion. Sometimes it's a little bit brash, but that's me. I show up and I say what needs to be said. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm absolutely loving, as I'm going through the different courses and my mastermind with my entrepreneurs, I'm really loving seeing their transitions and their like aha moments, like they understand and they feel a sense of relief. And on one side, I'm training new virtual assistants to join the online world, and then I'm empowering and coaching the entrepreneurs, and then now I'm matchmaking them together to to run free into the fields together, to create business magic. So it's really cool. So that's the other side of it, is training new service providers to provide the services for the businesses. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's working out just like magic. And everyone on both sides, they're feeling so much support, and they don't feel alone, because I think as entrepreneurs we can feel really alone, and we shouldn't be doing this all alone. Like, we need help. And so I love that I'm bringing the two sides together to move forward together.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's funny you brought up like the branding end of things and the authenticity. Like, I feel like so many times people either don't have the authenticity or they have too much authenticity. It's weird to me. And so like finding that voice, finding that branding, finding that image, like you talked about, and finding your true self is just so important, regardless of what you do, how you do it. And all that stuff that you were saying to me, I was like, yeah, yeah. And we all have been there as at one point or another in our business, but we really have to focus on our true self. And whenever I have like client calls or sales calls or networking opportunities, like everybody's always like, you're so authentic on social media. And I'm like, yeah, because why wouldn't I be, right? Like sometimes it's just so hard and scary and nerve wracking that, and people, and especially in this world today with all that's going on, there's just so many opinions and people are scared. And I'm like, they don't have to like you. Like, they don't have to like me. If they like what I post, cool. If they don't, okay. So I appreciate when people tell me, oh, you're so authentic and I love what you post. I'm like, oh, thank you. Because I don't want to be fake. Nobody wants to be fake. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I don't want to be fake. And I want people to see and inspire and be motivated and empowered, because so many people like feel like they're alone and nobody else feels these things or whatever. So it's like, no, you're not alone. Like when you said don't feel alone as an entrepreneur, I was like, yes, how many times do we feel alone as an entrepreneur? Every single day. Like how many times? Like I was like, oh, I'm alone right now. But like really and truthfully, we need that group. We need all of these things. So thank you for sharing all of those amazing, exciting things happening.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So my last kind of question for you is, if you could give any advice to anybody, whether they're starting up in the online, the entrepreneur world, I mean, obviously you could probably go on and on about all these things, but what's your best advice to give somebody?
You're right. I could go on and on and on. Okay, so my best advice, I think that could cover both sides of anyone coming in new and anyone who's in the trenches and doing it already, is don't overthink it. Just show up and start. That's the hardest part, is getting over that fear. And I know that I've lived in fear for a long time, and I let the fear of haters, I let the fear of what people would think, I wasn't showing up 100% myself because I was afraid, what if my grandma listened or looked, like I thought about all of these things that kept me stuck. And I finally found the courage to just come out and make it happen, even though it's not perfect, even though I'm scared, even though, I suffer imposter syndrome all the time. I think we all do. It's a normal thing, but really finding that courage. And something I just heard was how courage is so much stronger than confidence, because, and, I could go on and on about that, about, getting to a place where you're confident and getting to a place where you have courage. You can fake your confidence, but courage, like you have to show, like you're showing up or you're not. So the courage is bigger and scarier, but it's so beautiful. Like, and the other thing is, there's always going to be someone who, even if you show up a hot mess, they're going to look at you and say like, wow, she's got it together. Or I can't wait to be like her. Like, I want to be where she's at. There's always going to be that. So
I feel like that's 100% true. I have so many people like that I inspire and love, and I'll be like, oh my God, you're so motivating and you have it together. And they're like, girl, no, I don't. I just act like I do. Like, don't think you do. You're good too. Like, so I totally love that. Yeah. Like, go ahead, keep going on. But yeah, it's true. Like a lot of times people don't think they have it together, and, or, like what goes on the outside and the inside are two different things.
Absolutely. So it really just comes back to that courage, like showing up and just doing it. And you're going to get better over time. But if you don't start messy and looking, looking like how you are now, if you don't show up that way, you're not going to learn how to get to that next level. So really trying to come in and skip, maybe some people get lucky, or maybe they have something else up their sleeve, but it's not just a normal thing when you come to the online world starting a business and you're just all of a sudden going to be at the top. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And if you ask anyone who's successful, they didn't just go from 0 to 100. Like, they put in the years, they put in the time and energy, and they had lots of fails. They dealt with all the fears, and they're still dealing with fears. They're just new ones. So yeah, that's what I want to say, is just have the courage to push through the fear and show up and live your authentic life. Do what you want to do. And guess what? If it doesn't work, you pivot, change. Our businesses are constantly changing. This year alone has shown that we are all capable of adapting to changes and pivoting when needed, and we can do hard, scary things. So just show up.
Yeah, I mean, even when I look back to four years ago, maybe, I don't even know when I started my business, but regardless, when I look back, I'm like, oh, so much has changed. I mean, I still do the same stuff, but how I deliver it, how I have my strategies and my sales, and pricing, like everything has changed, right? And then I feel like, and obviously going through stuff like going through a divorce and going through everything, like you become a different person and you have that confidence now that you didn't have when you first started, or you did have it and you just didn't show it, right? Like, because there was just so much scarcity, doubt, not confidence, right? So now having all of that come to life in another world is like a whole new thing where, I mean, I had to pivot so many times in my business, so many. Every day I feel like we are always like pivoting, let's be honest. I mean, you just have to. Every day, like, you learn something new and then you have to change or adapt. It's just the nature of the game. And that's honestly what drives me as like an entrepreneur, is because nothing is the same every day.
Yeah. It's always new and exciting.
Yes, for sure. Awesome. Do you have anything else you would like to share? Tell us. I know, and then you have some freebies too. Tell us about those.
I do have some freebies. So I have something for no matter where you're at. So if you're just thinking about starting an online business, or maybe you're just kind of in the beginning of it, I have a couple of awesome freebies actually, and I will make sure you have the links to those, to help you kind of figure out what you can do with your current skills, how you can move them into an online business so you can work from home or work from wherever you are, and like what to call yourself, how to translate those skills, and what kind of money you can make. Because that's always like the big thing. Like, okay, you say I can work online, what kind of money are you talking about, right? So that's a really fun freebie. And then for the current business owners, I have my free brain dump template to help you figure out, basically just dump everything and figure out how and what you can outsource. So you dump it all in this template. I tell you how to move things around and put them in a certain place. And then you can say, oh, I can outsource that. I can outsource that. And when people are doing this, they're gaining back 10 plus hours each week by outsourcing. Like, can you imagine what you could do with 10 more hours every week? Like,
Renee tells me about this every day. She's like, 10 hours a week is a lot. Think of it like this. Now you have 40 hours a month. And I'm like, yeah, what could I do with that time? And as an entrepreneur, like, we're workaholics and we love our business and we want to be involved. But at the same time, like, we have to let go and step back. Like, you know, Renee creates all these analogies. Like, if you're an ice cream shop, you don't pour the ice cream. So you have to understand that eventually sometime you're still there, you're still that person, but you have to outsource and let go of things. And I think that's the hardest thing for so many businesses. I mean, I'm getting better at it, but I'm still like, 10 hours a week, huh? Like, I'm still like, what am I gonna do? Because then I'll find more work to do.
well, yeah, but that's the thing is, okay, if you're spending 10 hours a week doing, admin stuff, creating things you don't need, to create, doing tasks that you don't have to do, you're turning these tasks that you could outsource for $10 or $20 an hour, you're taking those and you're turning them into $100 an hour tasks or more, however much you charge per hour. You're basically taking your worth. So say you charge $100 an hour for your time, you're taking your worth and you're putting it down to $10 or $20 an hour because you're doing tasks you can outsource for that amount. So when you think of it that way, it's like, oh, wow, like if I had 10 extra hours, a week, I could make, if I'm making $100 an hour, I can make an extra $1,000 a month. That's more than going to pay for the person to, do what they're, doing for $10 to $20 an hour. Does that make sense?
Perspective is good. Yeah, it makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
To think about.
Or if you're making plenty of money, then you can have 10 extra hours a week to do what you want to do, follow your passions,
Yeah, I know.
take care of yourself, be with your kid, whatever it is that you want to do. So it really, when you look at it from those standpoints, it's a no-brainer. Like, you wouldn't, just like the ice cream shop, you wouldn't, run an ice cream shop or a restaurant or any kind of brick and mortar business like that. You wouldn't run it all by yourself. You have employees. So it's the same kind of thing in the online world. Like, for some reason, we get stuck in our heads like we have to do everything, but we wouldn't do that if it was an ice cream shop.
I think a lot of it too, for me anyways, is money, right? Like, we want to make more money, but we don't want to give that money up that could be profit. But at the same time, like you're saying, like, if you think about it like this, oh, I'm making X more now because somebody's doing these small little tasks, it makes it more digestible. Whereas when you're doing it all, you're like, well, I don't have to pay anybody to do all this because I'm doing it myself and I'm making this profit, but then you're drained out. So you can't be drained out and be sustainable and successful when you have, like, you can't do it all. You just can't, especially when you start to scale. You can't.
Absolutely not. I mean, you can't, you're not going to have the headspace to move forward or the energy to create new things and move your business forward. Exactly. You cannot scale if you're doing all of those things. It's not sustainable. You're going to burn out, maybe end up in a straitjacket.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, cool. Yes, we will put the links up for those awesome freebies and they will check you out.